What's up, ladies and gents? It's your boy DJ here, and I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you about the presidential election and the way I perceive things have gone since the election. Now, prior to the election, there were many times whenever I was frustrated, disappointed, and sometimes just pissed off about the way things were going and the way many people were behaving. It's been over a month since the election, and I have to admit that there are still many times whenever I am frustrated, disappointed, and sometimes just pissed off about the way things are going and the way many people are behaving. Nothing's changed. So instead of lashing out and doing something counterproductive, which I'm seeing all over the place, I thought I'd do something that adds value to the situation. I decided to be part of the solution rather than become part of the problem. This is what I came up with. We all wanted a change, and change is exactly what we got. That change came in the country's climate, whether we care to admit it or not. See, I thought you and I lived in a great melting pot. But is that really true when we can't get the hate to stop? Everyone wants to be heard, but far less want to listen. And some people with all their needs met have the nerve to dismiss the concerns of those without a pot to piss in. Is that the Christian way? Or are we only Christ-like on Facebook and Sunday? Patience, empathy, and respectful dialogue could bring a brighter day. But many only care how you feel if they feel the same way. What was once just a gray sky now seems to be the calm before the storm. And if we accept these conditions as a new norm, we may as well put our raincoats and boots on. Where birds used to sing and freedom for some rang loud, a storm seems to be brewing and the horizon is filled with rain clouds. We've all weathered worse storms in the past, but this storm seems to be the first one in my lifetime that has the potential to last. If we don't find a way to work things out and listen, I'm not at all optimistic about us reversing our divisions. But luckily, there are more good people than those with bad intentions. To get through this tumultuous season, it's ourselves that we first have to correct. And only when the voice of reason and respect overcomes the ignorance that we've now come to expect, the positive changes that we look and hope for will then take effect. When everyone opens their minds and their eyes, and the clouds in our judgment make way for blue skies, our expectations, hope, and the sun will once again rise. I'm out. Welcome to Facts and Opinions with Don. I'm Donald January Jr. Thanks for being here. Although I will be discussing certain events revolving around political activity, this is not necessarily a political discussion. I'd like to get into the people aspect of the aftermath of the presidential election. Donald Trump is president-elect. Many people never saw this coming. And on the other hand, there are many people that never saw it any other way. Regardless of what anyone feels, Donald Trump is president-elect. This election has been tough for many people in many different ways. And one thing that's extremely undeniable at this point is the nation is somewhat divided. So what do we need to do to get past this division? What needs to happen in order for us to heal and to start growing again? First of all, I think empathy is extremely important. We have to be willing to put ourselves in the shoes of others in order to understand where they're coming from. I was having a discussion with someone that I know, and this person I've been knowing for a while now, and on several instances he's really been there to help me through a few things that I needed. So the way I see it, Donald Trump is exactly where he's supposed to be at this particular time. Good or bad, I don't know how that's going to turn out. I'm hoping for the best because I live here as well. Though there are certain things that concern me, I'm a person that believes in fate. I'm a firm believer in whatever is happening right now and whatever happens in the future, whatever has happened in the past was meant to happen. So in the grander scheme of things, certain events have to take place, whether good or bad, and sometimes you won't know until later on. These things have to take place in order for us to get where we're supposed to be going. So the discussion that I was having was political. It was post-election, and something that the gentleman said really stuck with me. He was talking about the Democratic campaign, and one thing that he mentioned was everyone was promised that they would be taken care of. The Democrats pandered to minorities. The Democrats talked to LGBT. Democrats talked to white women, all women, people of all different religions. But the one group of people that was left out was white males. Now, I'm not a white male, so this never jumped out at me. But once he mentioned that, I got to thinking, maybe he's right. That's when I realized something. He has the exact same worry that many other people have. Nobody wants to be isolated. No one wants to feel attacked, and no one wants to feel left out. I won't dig much more into that, but I think that's a valid point. I've spoken to many people with many different political views: Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Green Party. And one thing that I see many people having in common, a great majority of the people that I've spoke with voted against their fears. Now, when I say that people voted against their fears, I'm not saying that people went to the voting booths totally petrified. What I'm saying is there were concerns that people had, and the direction that they feel like the country is going in or was going in was what they voted for or against. Some people feared taxes, their retirement, racism, bigotry. Some even feared anarchy. Now, let's be honest here. The two major parties' candidates had several issues. These were flawed candidates. It's not like we were voting between Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. These were people that had past that folks could really dig into and find things to nitpick or find things to pull up to say, this is why this person is not fit for this office, or this is why this person doesn't belong here. So you had to take your pick. Now, perception is reality. Let's not be naive. There are clearly extremists with varying political views that do make it hard for unity. We're gonna have to forget about them. I'm talking to the sensible people right now. How are we gonna get past this? I'll tell you what's not gonna work, what we've been doing since the election. Empathy, discussion, open-mindedness is the only option that we have. It's really easy to dismiss how someone feels, or to say that they're crying or whining or being intolerant. It takes a little bit more effort to understand where they're coming from. The only way we're gonna get through this is respectful and open dialogue. We have to initiate conversations that we may not even be comfortable with, but that's the only way that everybody's gonna feel like they're being heard, and we can calm these tensions. To the protesters, and when I say protesters, I don't just mean people out walking the streets, holding signs and chanting about the changes that they want. People protest in various ways. People protest on Facebook. I'm sure people were protesting at their Thanksgiving dinners. People protest at work and amongst friends. Protesters, I totally get where you're coming from. But it's always good to be mindful about how you're perceived, because there can come a point when your protest or the way you go about protesting and carrying yourself as you're protesting can start to do more harm than good. There are in fact people that don't want to hear what you have to say. No matter what type of package you put it in, it will be rejected. Once again, those people, forget about it. But there are in fact people that are willing to listen. Don't have them turn a deaf ear because your delivery was wrong. I think something that's really important is you do away with the mob mentality. Don't ever allow yourself to get riled up and out of your element. Because people that are saying you're doing this because you didn't get your way, you're giving fuel for their fire. Instead, organize. Organize your argument. Do something productive. Make sure you never overstep your boundaries and start making counterproductive actions. You know, while I'm at it, there's always a conversation that comes up when people talk about millennials. And after reading about millennials, I'm not sure really who coined this term, but I'm apparently the oldest of this millennial generation. And this is something to be conscious of. Anytime someone's downgrading someone based on their age or the generation that they're from, it's really good to keep in mind that millennials did not raise themselves. Millennials are the children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren of the people that are talking about said millennials. Just wanted to throw that out there. Many people are worried, and I will not tell you that you are not justified in being worried about the direction that your country is going in, especially if it's not in line with what you feel is best. Let's look at some numbers. About 50% of the voting public cast their vote for Donald Trump. Now, roughly 50% of that voting public cast their vote for Hillary Clinton. Of course, this number isn't exactly 50 because there were third parties and write-ins that got some of those votes as well. But for math's sake, let's just go with the 50%. There were 120 some odd million voters. There are 320 million plus citizens of the United States. So off the top of my head, 30 some odd percent of the population voted. So I gave you these numbers just to make sure that we're not giving into any irrational fears. There are many people that didn't vote that may not agree with policies that you feel may be coming. For math's sake, let's say 16% of the population voted for Trump and 16% of the population voted for Hillary Clinton. That's still 68% of the population that's not accounted for. I don't want anyone to give into any irrational fears that your rights are somehow going to be taken away, because there are many people that won't allow that to happen. Let's take it a step further. There are 100 senators that have to do their job, and their job is to serve you. There are 435 congressmen that have to do their job. Their job is to serve you. So no matter who you voted for or what you stand for, those 60 million people that voted for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, it's not enough to upend your life and to ruin everything about it. Ease your mind and let's work on building a better country. Is that fair? No matter what you want, or no matter who you put your faith in expecting to do it, I think it's time that we all start depending on ourselves. Be vigilant. Keep everyone honest. But never get out of your element. Keep your cool. You don't want anyone to have reason to say, see, I told you. That's how they act and that's what they do. Because it doesn't help your cause at all. And if you hit yourself to someone's wagon for this presidential election, it's not the end of the world and you haven't won anything. We still have a whole lot to do as a nation. So let's get this election behind us and move forward. No one knows what's next, but I can assure you that you do have some control. You have control over your own life. You have control over your own state of mind. It takes you to give that up. Keep your cool. Make the best of the situation. In closing, I'm not asking you to be naive. I'm asking you to be open-minded. And I'll go ahead and admit, there are some potential picks in Trump's cabinet that are somewhat alarming to me. But nothing's happened yet. To be totally honest, my life has not changed one bit since the presidential election, with the exception of having to hear certain things and having to endure certain arguments. But other than that, nothing's different. One thing that I also recognize is the protests going on today are alarming to some. And the racially charged incidents that are happening across the country should be alarming to everyone. One thing that you need to recognize is the media is fueling this fire. And since the media has the power to take one incident and make it a nationwide story, if you're not careful, the media can really take hold of your mind and your life. Please pay attention, be vigilant, and keep a level head no matter what you see. You may have gotten what you wanted out of the election, maybe you didn't, but life goes on. It's not the end of the world. You haven't won, you haven't lost anything. Everything is still to be continued. Respect is key. Take the time to understand where people that don't agree with you are coming from. We all have to do our part to make this nation and the world a better place. Don't give in to the hate. Don't allow yourself to be disgruntled to the point of becoming angry. In the words of the late great Marvin Gaye, only love can conquer hate. This is Facts and Opinions with Don. I'm Donald January Jr. Thanks for being here. Until next time, have a great day.